6. I'm Mark Gardner. We had NVIDIA earnings just after the bell. Yet again, NVIDIA just, Jensen, we bow down to you. You've yet again saved the AI narrative. They absolutely smashed it on all metrics. And as per usual, Jensen was pretty positive and on outlook, etc. as well. He is always, he's always good value if you're a shareholder. So they rallied about 3.5%, 4% in the aftermarket, and then I think they've drifted off a little bit since the close, I've got to say, but since the earnings announcement on that initial move. But look, those headline numbers were really good. I'll cover it a little bit more in detail, as we later on in the pod. So basically, NVIDIA, it spiked up 4%. It came back to where it roughly was on the close. It settled and found a base and is starting to grind higher again now. So not up a hell of a lot, but look, I think it's overall a pretty positive thing. This part of the market as well, which is the SaaS apocalypse part of the heat map. We really did look. It's remaining elevated, but there's a lot of questions around it now. So both Citadel and Morgan Stanley have come out and really had a massive crack at that Centrini research article about about AI having an aggressive playing out aggressive scenarios where agentic AI will displace the current software incumbents. And look, I'm not going to say that it's, and this is our investment thesis here, is that we're not saying that it's going to be blanket, that this is stupid, but the blanket selling is stupid. And there are a number of different sectors or subsectors within this software as a service that have very wide moats and very, very defensible, if not impenetrable moats. So, for those of you, we did update the AI threat to SaaS interactive model yesterday to include nearly 45 companies across US and ASX. And you can filter out and see which ones are we think are going to have a moat or not. Salesforce is one that reported earnings overnight. It's one that doesn't fare well, particularly in our with our pillars for the moat, or the how wide the moat is. It did flag some concerns. From a distribution standpoint, initially I thought Salesforce would do quite well, but it is literally a seats model, which is seats SaaS model, which and they've got their own agentic AI. I thought that there might be, there might be some hope there because of how wide their net is cast for distribution. However, it is extraordinarily expensive, and realistically, where they pick up their margin is these little agentic AI bots. Which people will may be able to plug in themselves. So it is going to compress the hell out of their margins. They're down about 6 or 7% in the aftermarket, mainly on outlook overall. But yeah, ASX powering record high yesterday. We're probably going to see another record high again today. We've got commodities rallying as well as some of our tech sector coming back. The banks have been pretty positive. As you can see here, the banks were fairly positive last night in the US. And so Nikkei rallied yesterday. Again, it's kind of doing its own thing. China bounced back a little bit. The technicals there, I would just take with a grain of salt because they've been closed for a week, which other markets don't tend to do. So I don't know whether I'd be trusting the technicals there just at the moment. S&P up nearly 1%, NASDAQ up 1.4%, the Russell. So we're seeing that switch back to tech. Obviously, they are the biggest, as you can see with the market map, so this is by market cap how large these squares are. So that's how much weight they have in the S&P 500 index. So obviously when those guys are positive, they just have to be a little bit positive and it lifts the index. So that's where we're getting those strong buy signals coming back in overall. And look, we still have Iran concerns. We had the State of the Union address last night or yesterday in our day. from Donald Trump. It was like watching a school assembly at the world's worst public school. There was heckling. There was like it droned on for 2 hours. There was name calling. There wasn't anything massive out of it really. It was just basically Trump's just being able to deliver his message, and truth is a very flexible thing in the Trump administration. So he was saying that everything was working great. I mean, look, I'm not going to do the impression, but you'll get what I mean. It's the greatest deal ever. Tariffs are the greatest thing. It's all working greater than it's ever worked before, and this is the greatest administration that the greatest country in the world has ever seen. Yada 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 yada. It's all complete. It's just not really worth bothering about and watching. So we had Nvidia obviously in Salesforce, one good, one not so good. We have the likes of Worley, Qantas, Ramsey, etc. today. I'm probably not really going to bother with the with the earnings wrap ups now. It's really the end of Aussie earnings season, so we did have higher than expected CPI yesterday, which then which the market took very well actually, and then bought into. I think it's probably as positive as I've seen the ASX market in quite a while. It's having a tendency to shake off bad news, which is very un-ASX like. WiseTech bounced back 11% yesterday. We are very positive on WiseTech, and but we're still not completely allocated there yet. There's still a lot of room to the upside. It did trade 130, and we have been down to 41. I mean, we're only at 40. We're still under 50 at this point. So we're just waiting for a little bit more clear evidence that from the technicals to be buying any more. The Fed speakers didn't say anything much overnight, and truth be told, that's pretty much earnings season done for the US now as well. It's just smaller names here and there, so thank God for that. So it's one less thing to have to concentrate on all the time. I mean, US earnings season obviously will start again in April pretty quickly, so we get a month's breather. We still do have these risks on the horizon. We still that we need to be mindful of. We still got Iran going on, but look, I would say overall we'd be very focused on economic news and geopolitical news a little bit more so now moving forward. That's, I would imagine, is going to remain good for gold and good for silver. Silver was smacked about 3% into the close. Looks like someone trying to make sure that it didn't settle above 90, and a sort of bounced straight back after literally the 10-minute candle after the market shut. It's usually blood in the water. You can smell blood in the water when people are defending positions like that in massive size. Back to my professional trading days, that's annoying, but you rarely win protecting a position like that and taking those aggressive stances. And overall, all they're trying to do is buy time so they can get out. Copper was still positive last night as well. Platinum up 5.5%. I think platinum is just platinum now. Really, I think we can probably very safely buy that again and get involved in that again, and probably has the most upside of any. We bought silver miners when silver was at $110, and the silver miners are now actually slightly up overall. So that was by far the best move from us when we switched out of that. Lithium was up 4.5% overnight as well. There will be a bid tone in the lithium stocks this morning on the Aussie market on the basis that the Zimbabwean government has stopped exports of lithium carbonate and lithium in general, and there is a fair bit of lithium exported out of there, and we, it's just going to help those Australian domiciled companies, the Liontowns, the PLS, the MinReses of the world, today. So we would very much expect that bull run in lithium to continue higher today. May even be a decent little buying opportunity on the open potentially. We currently sort of hold Liontown, and we also hold an ETF, which is the fringe metals, essentially, which is a US listed one. But yeah, I think that's probably not a bad place to have a look at as people start to lock down those supply chains. This was the NVIDIA breakdown, and for those this is the chart that changed my view on NVIDIA. I think somewhere around here I might have called it. I might have said it'll be the poster child of the poster boy of the AI bubble, and that was just because we were at 1,000 PEs and things like that. And there's a similar chart for like this for Palantir as well. If the revenue matches, if the forward revenue matches, and they continue to go, it's that data center run up there. Then it doesn't matter what your PE is looking backwards. And so I just wanted to share this chart with you guys because look, I made a mistake around this period here and thinking that it was a bubble. Going back and having a look at those businesses back in and making those comparisons back in 01. But the difference is here is that the companies fueling this rally have money, like lots and lots of money, the hyperscalers. So, this spending obviously has been really consistent. You can kind of see why, it's grown so rapidly because the revenue has grown so rapidly. So yeah, it's it's one of the things you need to do in markets sometimes is eat your humble pie and change your thesis because you inevitably will always get something wrong eventually. No one gets it right all the time, and those people who say they get it right all the time are just categorically lying to you. So yeah, that's why I specifically wanted to share this one with you, is because it was a bit of a lesson, because you don't see too many charts. This one and Palantir would probably be the only two charts I've ever seen whereby you can justify those enormous backward-looking PEs, still learning a bit of a lesson. This is our AI threat map that's been updated. So we've got here the AI beneficiaries. So if you're up in the top column up here, in the top left, they're the ones you want to be buying. Down in this bottom section here, they're the ones you want to be concerned about. Elevated does not mean sell. It just means that we don't necessarily know. But these ones, I think, high threat and low period of when that threat's going to come. So this is now, and this is 5 years away. And so you can go in here and you can search for a stock. There's only 45 stocks in there. We don't want to go too nuts on it, but there's a bunch of ASX now. But you can go through and filter out the ones you don't want. If you don't want US, then you don't do US. And that is at mpcmarkets.com.au/AI-threat-to-SAS. So yeah, we'll make sure you can find it on the homepage, or if you go through any of the socials, you'll be able to find it pretty easy. If you're a Mosaic, so the updates on this will come out on Mosaic first, and then we'll gradually transition it to the website for free. We're going to keep this as free content. It's going to be a living document. It's been super popular, and we'll update all the time as new technology comes out, because this is not the sort of thing you can definitively say that you're is going to be set in stone. But things like cybersecurity were very much strengthened last night by the fact that Claude actually hacked the Mexican government when it actually is supposed to have controls within it. So now agentic AI made by Claude is definitely not going to be usable in terms of cybersecurity. So that even strengthens the case anymore. So look, have a great day, people. I know this has been a long one this morning. Apologies. We will speak again tomorrow.